let's start. So I hope you are in your first PEDAC here as the one that I'm showing you right now in the Google Meet. So just discussion about the what are the answers for slide 21 to slide 27. So this is a sample answer. Now alveolus has high partial pressure of oxygen, and because of this, oxygen will combine with hemoglobin to form, therefore oxygen will diffuse into the lung capillaries. Okay, therefore oxygen will diffuse into the lungs capillaries and combine with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. So ayat yang kedua ni, sekejap ya. Ayat yang kedua ni kena bagi tahu dulu the direction of oxygen. Lepas tu baru kita bagi tahu oxygen combine with hemoglobin. So there are two sample answers here. Kejap ya, saya buat macam ni. Okay, there are two sample answers here. The answer for the second statement is the combination of the two. Number one tadi, alveolus has higher partial pressure of oxygen. Number two, therefore, oxygen diffuse into lung capillaries. And then, oxygen will combine with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. Okay, dia ada, dia punya tertib dia macam tu ya. Difference in partial pressure, direction of diffusion, and then what the form of transportation. And then, itu statement 1, 2 and 3 tadi. Okay, statement yang sebelah kanan pula dalam kotak biru tadi. Okay ya, kejap saya highlight satu saja so that kita boleh fokus. Okay, so blood in lung capillaries has higher partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Therefore, carbon dioxide diffuses out from lung capillaries into the alveolus. So, apakah cara-cara untuk transport carbon dioxide? There are 3 ways. Nanti kita akan bincang untuk slide yang selepas ini. But for this particular statement, dia punya explanation dia ialah in the lungs, carbon dioxide diffuse out from lung capillaries into alveolus and expel through nose and mouth. Bila dah sampai lungs, carbon dioxide akan diffuse dari lung capillaries masuk ke dalam alveolus, kemudian expel. Masa in exhalation, kita expel carbon dioxide through nose and mouth. Okay, so saya screenshot satu sampel answer ni. Thank you Sharifah Jasenia for your submission. Okay, dan saya akan share dalam Telegram juga ya. In case ada yang tak sempat tengok. Sebab belum cukup attendance ni, baru 28 orang ya. Alright, now let's take a look at what happens when blood arrives at the body tissues. So when, sekejap ya. So when blood arrives at the body tissues, tadi kita dah cakap inside the blood, there is oxygen combined with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin kan. So blood in tissue capillaries has higher partial pressure of oxygen when compared to the body tissue atau body cell. Therefore, detecting this, oxyhemoglobin break down to release oxygen molecules. Bila oxygen molecule release, barulah datang step number 3, oxygen diffuses from tissue capillaries into the body cells. Okay, and then for statement in the blue box, kita tengok pula dalam body cells, since the body cells conduct cellular respiration, the byproduct of cellular respiration is carbon dioxide. That is why body cells has higher partial pressure of carbon dioxide compared to the tissue capillaries. Therefore, carbon dioxide from the body cells diffuse from the body cells into the tissue capillaries to be transported back to the lungs. Okay, so thank you Amna Najiha for your submissions. Saya nak screenshot jawapan ni untuk apa? As a reference, sample answer. Okay, sekarang ni anak-anak, for oxygen kan, oxygen, it is very simple to transport oxygen. Combine with hemoglobin jadi oxyhemoglobin, settle. But the transport of carbon dioxide is slightly different, is slightly more complex because it also serves as an indicator in homeostasis. Okay, apa yang saya maksudkan? Kejap ya. Untuk carbon dioxide, okay, number one, it can combine with hemoglobin to form carbaminohemoglobin. And then it also can dissolve and carried as carbonic acid, but most of it is carried in the form of bicarbonate ion and H+. Ada satu lagi saya lupa nak tunjuk kat sini. Kenapa carried in the form of ions? Because when carbonic acid dissolve in water inside the blood plasma, it will separate to form two ions, H+ and HCO3-. So the majority of carbon dioxide is carried out in ionic form, H+ and HCO3- lah. So carbon dioxide itu dekat mana? Dekat HCO3-. Okay, mana datang HCO3- ni? Mana datang bicarbonate ion ni? It is because carbonic acid H2CO3 dissociate atau berpisah untuk membentuk H+ and HCO3-. So carbon dioxide tu dalam HCO3- ni lah. So that is what is it is meant by carried in the form of bicarbonate ion. So nanti bila kita belajar homeostasis, the H+ component that dissociated from carbonic acid serve as an indicator for the carbon dioxide level in our blood. Bila ada banyak carbon dioxide terhasil, our blood will form a lot of carbonic acid, and this carbonic acid will dissociate to become H+ and HCO3-. So the high level of H+ in the blood will be detected by a specific receptor that will tell our brain, okay, now our blood is acidic, which means there are a lot of carbon dioxide in our blood. So we have to do something to increase, to expel this excess carbon dioxide. So itulah apa nak kata hikmahnya kenapa transport of carbon dioxide ni is slightly complex. Nanti kita akan discuss mekanisme tu dengan lebih lanjut ya. So this is what I meant by carbon dioxide. When diffused into blood plasma, it will combine with water to form carbonic acid, which subsequently dissociate to form hydrogen ion and also bicarbonate ion. So this particular formation of carbonic acid is assisted atau facilitated by the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. Okay, so as you can see here, okay, once the blood plasma that has HCO3- and H+ tadi arrive at the lung area, since the lung area has lower partial pressure of carbon dioxide, carbonic anhydrase will recombine H+ and HCO3- will recombine, and with the help of enzyme carbonic anhydrase, it will convert carbonic acid back into carbon dioxide and water. Lepas tu baru carbon dioxide diffuse from the blood into the alveoli. Okay, so right after this particular slide, saya ada a few assessment question. So mari kita tengok slide 26 tak boleh, kita pergi ke slide 27. So the blood vessels P and Q. Okay, untuk P is pulmonary artery and Q is pulmonary vein. Okay, most of you dah jawab. Kena sebut pulmonary ya. Nama tu kena spesifik lah sebab ini soalan name. So bila soalan name, nama mesti nama spesifik. Okay, tambah sikit ya. Pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery untuk P dan pulmonary vein untuk Q. Dia arteri dengan vein ni bukan pasal dia nak kata apa ya, tak semestinya sebab carry oxygenated dengan deoxygenated blood sahaja ya. Dia ada that kind of simplification tu kena take note lah, kena hati-hati lah. Ya, tak semestinya arteri mesti bawa oxygenated blood dan tak semestinya vein mesti bawa deoxygenated blood ya. Tak semestinya. Okay, for the case of pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. And lastly, soalan pada slide 28 tu, kita pergi ke slide 29 kan? Okay ya, saya pergi ke slide 29. So, based on the diagram, suggest one function of blood. So, in the diagram, dia punya clue dia dekat situ ialah differences in partial pressure. Lepas tu ada arrow keluar masuk carbon dioxide due to differences in partial pressure. So based on this diagram, the function of blood is to transport oxygen and carbon dioxide. Kalau macam yang Syahira tulis, transport respiratory gases, juga betul. Good idea, tak ada masalah. Okay. Dan seperti yang Ashraf tulis, provide the body cells with oxygen and remove CO2. Juga betul, tak ada masalah. Okay, and then mainly your ideas are on the right track lah, bagus. Okay, tak ada masalah dari segi function. Why this question came up? Because in the previous syllabus, dalam chapter transport, bukan previous syllabus, sorry. In the topic transport, we will discuss further about the function of blood. One of it to transport respiratory gases lah, macam kita discuss dalam kelas sekarang. Tapi ada juga untuk transport nutrient, for immunity dan sebagainya. So, we will discuss further about the function of blood when we discuss about circulatory system. Okay, tapi yang untuk yang ni, untuk untuk hari ni memang function dia transport respiratory gases dan ayat-ayat lain yang kamu guna transport oxygen and carbon dioxide atau supply oxygen and remove carbon dioxide yang seperti kamu sebut tadi juga adalah cara-cara lain untuk describe the function of blood based on the diagram. Okay. Kemudian explain your answer. Okay. So here is a sample answer. Sekejap ya. Saya sedang memilih sample answer. Alright, banyak betul jawapan yang bagus-bagus ya. Saya nak pilih mana satu pun. Struggle juga ni nak pilih sebab banyak jawapan bagus-bagus. Okay. Okay, so when we want to explain about transport of blood based on this diagram kan, sebab dia ada label partial pressure dekat situ, so our answer should apply the concept of partial pressure. So from what I read here, you have the right idea about transport oksigen dari mana ke mana dan sebagainya, but please take note that you need to also include elements of partial pressure in your answer. Sebagai contoh, okay, ini salah satu contoh lah jawapan yang dia guna elemen partial pressure. Okay, so this is one sample answer. Okay, dia compare, dia compare in terms of blood that leaves the lung through pulmonary vein has a high partial pressure of oxygen, whereas blood that enters the lung through the pulmonary artery has high partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So kita nak kata sebab soalan ni adalah 3 markah, okay, soalan ni 3 markah, so you need to also include what happens to the what happens when blood arrive at the body tissue area pula. Explanation yang lebih kurang sama pasal partial pressure, but you need to apply the same principles atau the same mechanisms when the blood arrive at the body tissues. So when the blood oxygen rich blood arrive at the body tissue has lower partial pressure of oxygen, therefore oxygen from the blood diffuse into the body tissues. The body tissues have higher partial pressure of carbon dioxide, therefore carbon dioxide will diffuse into the tissue capillaries. Okay, so kita kena cerita juga untuk dapatkan full mark 3 tu, kita kena cerita exchange yang berlaku pada kawasan lungs dan juga exchange yang berlaku pada kawasan body tissues, similar to the one that we did earlier. Okay, so saya setuju when you mention that the function of blood shown in the diagram is transport of respiratory gases, dan bila kita nak explain, we need to apply the concept of difference in partial pressure. Sebab dalam diagram dia ada tunjukkan clue kat situ mengenai partial pressure yang ada PO2, PCO2. Jadi kita kena ceritalah difference in partial pressure tu. Okay, yang menyebabkan transport of respiratory gases tu berjalan. Berbeza dekat lung, berbeza juga dekat body tissue. For example, in the alveolus, partial pressure of oxygen is high compared to the lung capillaries. Therefore, oxygen diffuse into the lung capillaries. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher in lung capillaries compared to the alveolus. So, carbon dioxide diffuse into the alveolus. At the body tissues, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher in the body tissues compared to the tissue capillaries. So, carbon dioxide diffuse into the tissue capillaries, and oxygen from the capillaries, tissue capillaries, will diffuse into the body tissues because tissue capillaries has higher partial pressure of oxygen. So excess carbon dioxide will be the carbon dioxide will be carried into the lungs to be expelled out of our body. Soalan yang sama kita boleh expand jadi sampai soalan 5 hingga 6 markah. So for your answer, there are 2 contexts that you can explain, whether you want to explain exchange of gases at the lungs atau exchange of gases at the body tissues. Dua-dua pun boleh. Sebab apa? Dua-dua pun boleh dapat full mark sebab explain dekat lung saja pun dah dapat. Kita boleh cerita difference in partial pressure, direction of diffusion. Ada 4 ayat sebab 2 untuk oksigen dan 2 untuk carbon dioxide. Sama juga dekat body tissues kan? Okay, sekejap ya. I give you I give you another minute to update your answer. Nanti kita tengok nutrition ya. Okay, just make sure that your answers include um, include the concept and or the terms partial pressure, difference in partial pressure. Masukkan dalam kamu punya explanation. I agree with you when you use words like sequence words yang menunjukkan sequence ya, macam first jadi apa, then jadi apa, next jadi apa, therefore jadi apa, to conclude jadi apa, which is good. It is good for apa, soalan-soalan mechanism like this lah. Because it shows sequence, it shows cause and effect, okay, which is what we usually do when we want to explain scientific concepts. So basically lebih kurang sama dengan slide 21, 20 berapa tadi? 21, 22 tadi kan? Okay, so kejap saya unlock screen. Sementara saya screenshot jawapan. Alright. Okay anak-anak. Now we have completed discussion on respiratory system and breathing mechanisms. Now let's go to another paddock note. Pada paddock note yang kedua tu, paddock link yang kedua tu saya ada bagi. Saya share lagi sekali dalam Google Meet ya. Okay, mari kita berpindah. Alright, mari kita berpindah pergi ke human nutrition and human digestive system. Saya akan end kita punya session yang ni. Dan kita pergi ke nutrition. Alright. Okay. Okay, 29 people are already here. Okay, mari kita mula ya. Ada siapa dah dalam ni? Oh, ada Alif Hakimi, Alina, Amir Aiman, Amirul Hakimi, Ammar, Dahia, Farah Kristina, Humaira, Iman Safiyah, Marsha, Muhammad Ashraf, Hamim, Nik Natasha, Nur Akmal, Nur Amna, Nur Kasrina, Syafika, Syahira, Safira, Fatima, Nurin, Nisrin, sekejap saya nak check. Puteri Nur Hidayah, Putri Nur Azlina, Putri Dania, Syakira Alia, Sharifah Jasenia, Wan Nurin dan Farhana. Alright. So, sekejap ya. Let's take a look at the first part, topic 9.1, which is digestive system. Sekejap ya. Not this one. Oh yes, this one. Okay, before we start on 9.1, sekejap ya. Ish. Ya, kalau nak minum air ke silakan ya. Sekejap ya. There's something that I wanted to do. Yes, betul-betul. This one. I've already embedded it. Punya tak ada. Text. Tak boleh bagi website Alright, tak apa, tak apa. Okay, first let's take a look at components of digestive system first. So, okay. So, if you open up your paddock, this particular slide will open up a word wall website. So take a look at the website and you may do the activity first. Saya bagi masa around 5 minutes to complete the activity. Sekejap ya. Saya pun kena check word wall. Alright. Okay, can you open the activity? Tajuk dia ialah digestive system. Sekejap ya. If you have any problems to open the activity, let me know Okay. So can you access this? Okay ke? Sebab saya tengok tak ada result lagi kan? Can you access this? Boleh?
Boleh cikgu.
Okay, teruskan. Sorry. Fokus. Teruskan. Alright. I can see 13 students are here. Okay. Okay. I give you another 3 minutes eh. I give you another 3 minutes to complete this. Nanti kita pergi ke slide yang seterusnya ya. Oh, question 8 and question 8. Question 8. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, average score dia ialah 12.2. At least apa? Satu je silap ya. It's okay. Okay. Now we have 14 students. Okay anak-anak, congratulations to Putri Dania, very fast ya. And then he also got first place sebab pantas je apa beza 27 seconds dengan Amna yang second place. Dan 41 seconds dengan Nuri yang third place. Tapi kepantasan is not the main issues here lah kan. Of course, the main the main objective for this particular activities is for you to name and identify the organs involved in our digestive system. So let's take a look at the process digestion. Kita tengok digestion dulu. Okay, sekejap ya. I have to change my screen first. Okay, mari kita kembali kepada PDAC. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so for digestion, why do you think digestion is important? Okay, why do you think digestion is important? Okay, very good. Okay, I agree with your ideas. Since the food that we eat is very complex and is consists of big molecules, macam kita discuss masa chapter 4 hari tu kan. Kalau kita makan protein, kita makan karbohidrat daripada sumber nasi atau kita makan protein daripada sumber daging. Inside the food that we eat consists of very complex and big molecules that need to be broken down into smaller and simpler forms so that we can conduct cellular respiration atau building various biochemical compounds in our body macam enzyme ke, hormon ke, antibody ke dan sebagainya lah. So, it is a so digestion is basically a process that breaks down large and complex food atau large and complex molecules inside our food into smaller and simpler molecules that can be dissolved and absorbed into our bodies so that we can assimilate, we can use these substances to provide energy, to build various biological structures in our body and so on and so forth lah. Okay, so I give you another 30 seconds to update this particular slide and then kita move on to the next one, yeah. The aim of today's lesson is to discuss about digestion process, proses pencernaan. Mainly we will take a look at organs yang kita label tadi. Kita nak tengok what are the hormones secreted by the organs atau the structures, and then what are the reactions involved, what are the reactions atau the products form after the reaction. Okay, saya pergi ke slide yang seterusnya. Minta maaf, saya terpaksa potong kamu punya semangat untuk menulis tu. Okay, so the first part is bila kita makan, kita mula dengan mulut kan. So when food is present in our mouth, it will be detected, it will stimulate the salivary glands to produce saliva. In the saliva, the pH range between 6.5 to 7.5, almost neutral lah, atau mild, a bit alkaline. So this this environment, this pH range is suitable for the reaction of amylase. So the reaction in our mouth is starch and water to produce what type of product, and what is the enzyme involved? Nama enzyme apa? Produk dia apa? Yes, very good. Okay, the enzyme is salivary amylase. Enzyme dia amylase. Kenapa ada salivary? Sebab it is produced by salivary gland. Nanti kita tengok there is another part of our body that also produce amylase. Kita panggil dia sebagai pancreatic amylase. Okay, very good. Thank you for your submission, Ami. Bagus. Tinggal nak tulis produk je, Ami. Teruskan. Bagaimana pula dengan yes, Kasrina, good. Memang betul jawapan tu. Okay. Salivary amylase and also maltose. Bagaimana pula dengan Ashraf? Apakah produk dia, Ashraf? Silakan. Yes, maltose. Yes, almost there, Ashraf. Bagus. Okay, Iman pun tengah tulis ni. Bagus, Iman. Teruskan, Iman. Okay. Alright, salivary amylase. Yes. Okay. dia punya substrate dia adalah starch, dia punya produk adalah maltose. Very good, Iman. Thank you. Okay, good, Alina. Good job. Okay, so now let's take a look at the next organ, which is our stomach. Okay, mari kita tengok stomach pula ya. Good job everyone. Thank you so much for your submission. Mari kita pergi ke the next part. Okay, so when the saliva reacts with the food that we eat, it will be molded to form bolus, small, round, spherical food products, so that when it enters the esophagus, it will be easier to swallow. When we swallow the bolus, epiglottis do something to reduce the risk of bolus to enter our respiratory area. So what is the function of epiglottis kat sini? What is the function of epiglottis? Yes. Close the trachea during swallowing. Yes. So, the reaction between salivary amylase and the physical movement of our tongue will form food our food will be turned into the bolus form, bentuk spherical tu, and then enters the esophagus. When the food enters the esophagus, the epiglottis berperanan untuk close the trachea during the swallowing movement. Okay, very good. Yes, I agree with you, Shakira. And then let's take a look at this one. Okay, good. You are on the right track, Putri Dania. Good. Yes, Alina, very simple sentence. Betul, tak ada masalah ya. Close the trachea during swallowing. Yes. Oh, Alina dengan Alena ni sama juga dia punya ayat dia ya. Macam ada nak kata apa ya, ada psychic connection ke apa jawapan sama ni. Okay, good everyone, thank you so much. Okay, betul tu, close the trachea opening to prevent food from entering trachea during swallowing. So as the bolus enters our esophagus is basically a wall with epithelial tissues and smooth muscle tissue. So the smooth muscle tissue will contract and relax to form peristalsis. Peristalsis will push the bolus from the upper part of esophagus downwards into the stomach. So at the end of the bolus journey through our esophagus, it will enter the stomach and start to experience another type of chemical digestion, which is protein digestion. So kita nak tengok protein digestion pula in the stomach area. Okey, ada soalan kat sini. Sekejap ya, saya baca dulu. Okey, soalan dia ialah kalau tersedak macam mana pula? Okey, habiskan. Okey, saya nampak ada satu soalan kat sini. Kalau tersedak tu maksudnya apa? Ya, saya setuju. Kalau tersedak tu maksudnya bolus dah masuk ke dalam trachea lah. So that's why we have to do the Heimlich maneuver yang kita tekan bahagian atas bahagian yang betul-betul bawah rib cage tu ada satu point dekat antara pusat dengan bawah rib cage tu, kita kena tekan dan tolak sekuat-kuatnya to suddenly increase the pressure in our lung and our trachea. Barulah bolus tu boleh naik ke atas, keluar balik melalui epiglottis, masuk ke dalam esophagus balik. So itu gunanya Heimlich maneuver tu lah. Sebab bolus tu masuk ke dalam trachea. Dalam silibus sains form 4, diorang memang kena belajar Heimlich maneuver ni. So nanti kalau ada kawan-kawan yang belajar sains, boleh tengok menarik juga sebab diorang memang kena tahu Heimlich maneuver. So kalau tercekik, make sure kamu dekat dengan student yang ambil sains je. Alright. So the next part, digestion of protein in the stomach requires the function of mucus cell, parietal cell and chief cell. Can you write in the box given what are the substances secreted by all three types of cell? Apakah bahan-bahan yang dirembeskan oleh mucus cell, parietal cell and also chief cell? Okay, let's see here. One sample answer. Okay. So, Nik Natasha mencadangkan the function of mucus cell is to secrete mucus and parietal cell is to secrete hydrochloric acid. And finally, the chief cells, the function is to secrete pepsinogen. Okay, good. Thank you so much, Nik Natasha. Okay, mari kita tengok in details how do these substances work. Okay, so as I explain you this slide, sambil saya terangkan slide ini, kamu boleh terus update pada kamu punya slide masing-masing ya. So, as you mentioned before, the mucus cells secrete mucus where the function is to protect the stomach wall from the reaction of hydrochloric acid and also digestive enzyme. Sebabnya hydrochloric acid ni sifat dia menghakis, korosif kan. So it might hurt the lining of our stomach. So that is why mucus is important. And then this is also related to your the gastric condition lah, because the corrosive feature of hydrochloric acid tu causes the lining of our stomach inflame dan menjadi salah satu sebab kenapa gastrik tu berlaku lah. Okay, and then the next part is parietal cell secrete hydrochloric acid kan. So it is used to prepare a medium, an acidic medium which is suitable for pepsin to act. Kita dah belajar dulu bila kita belajar enzyme factor factors affecting enzyme reaction. For pepsin, the optimum pH is acidic condition. And then at the same time, it stops the reaction of salivary amylase sebab salivary amylase requires a almost neutral and alkaline condition to work. And at the same time, a very low pH will kill the bacteria in the bolus atau in the food. So, the reaction is protein and water. Lepas tu, protein will be digested by pepsin to produce polypeptide. Walaupun kita kata chief cell secrete pepsinogen, but when the pepsinogen secreted out into the stomach cavity, it will become activated to form pepsin. Kenapa dia activated? Sebab pepsinogen when exposed to hydrochloric acid, it will become activated to become pepsin. So bila dah jadi pepsin, barulah protein can be digested to form polypeptide. Okay. So ingat ya, dia punya label dekat atas tu pepsin. And then proses yang dialami kat situ ialah hydrolysis. Kan kita dah belajar dulu hydrolysis dalam chapter 4. So the process is hydrolysis facilitated by the enzyme pepsin lah. Alright. Mari kita tengok the next part. Let's take a look at the next part, which is after the stomach, now comes the intestine, the role of intestine, ya. Okay, so sebelum tu macam mana semua komponen-komponen ni pasal mucus, hydrochloric acid dan pepsinogen ni bekerja. Basically what happens is the combination of hydrochloric acid and also pepsin is called gastric juice. So gastric juice will be churned through will combine with food and churned by the peristaltic action of the stomach and wall muscle. So tadi peristalsis tadi kita cerita berlaku dekat esophagus kan. Dalam perut pun sama, if our stomach also have smooth muscle tissue that can contract and relax to conduct peristalsis. And because of peristalsis, it will mix the food with gastric juice to increase rate of digestion. And then bolus sekarang sebab dia dah terendam dalam gastric juice, it will form a semi-fluid called chyme. So chyme will enters the next part of our alimentary canal, which is the duodenum. Dia masuk sedikit demi sedikit ke dalam duodenum when the sphincter muscle relaxes. Sphincter muscle ni is a sort of lebih kurang macam valve lah. Bila dia tutup, tak boleh bergerak to the next part. Bila sphincter muscle contract, it cannot, the opening is, the stomach opening is closed. Tapi when the sphincter muscle relax, barulah the stomach opening opens and allows chyme move to the duodenum. Okay, duodenum itself is part of the intestine. So can you label other parts of the intestine? Boleh tak kamu identify dekat mana duodenum, jejunum, ileum and also large intestine. Large intestine tu yang warna hitam tu ya, dia punya apa nama? Dia punya dot. Warna hitam pula, warna kelabu. Okay. Let's see your submissions here. Saya kena ambil satu sampel lah. Sekejap ya. Siapa yang dah habis ni ya? Okay. Sorry. Sekejap ya. Okay, let's see one sample answer here. Okay ya. So, the first part, the top part is duodenum, followed by the second one is jejunum, green ya. The second one is green. Okay, jejunum. And then the third one is ileum. So, apa tadi? Biru, hijau, purple, and then large intestine, followed by rectum. Bawah sekali merah. Alright, thank you Zafira for your answer. Very good. Okay, sekarang kita dah kenal the structure of intestine. Mari kita tengok digestion of carbohydrate, protein and lipid in the small intestine. Okay. So for in the small intestine, many of the substances in the small intestine that are involved in digestion is not made by duodenum itself, tetapi the substances are made by liver and also pancreas. So liver, the specific structure inside the liver that is involved with digestion is bile. So gallbladder produces liver produces bile and stored in the gallbladder. The function of bile is to neutralize the acidic chyme, and then because of that it will change the pH condition of the chyme to within 7.6 to 8.6 pH. At the same time, the function of bile is to emulsify lipid, to make it into tiny droplets, to make it smaller in size. As we know, the smaller the size, the higher the surface area for reaction. Okey, kemudian pancreas juga menghasilkan substances to be sent to duodenum. The substances are pancreatic amylase, trypsin and lipase. So duodenum ni is the place for the reactions to occur, but duodenum itself does not produce bile, does not produce amylase, trypsin and lipase. Itu adalah kerja pancreas dengan liver. So ini dalam gambar ni, ini yang dimaksudkan dengan emulsification of lipid. So when the fat globule is reacted with bile, the bile will sort of cut the fat into small pieces, kan, into small pieces, so that it will become small fat droplets. And as we all know, the smaller the size, the higher the surface area for reaction. Mari kita tengok enzymes pula, kan? So we know that pancreas secreted enzyme amylase, trypsin and lipase to the duodenum. Can you complete these three reactions? What are the enzymes involved and what are the products? Okay, very good. Kalau kita nampak starch saja, enzim dia memang amylase lah. Tapi kita tambah sikit nama dia pancreatic amylase. Pasal apa? Sebab the enzyme is produced by pancreas. Kenapa kita tak tulis salivary amylase? Kan kita discuss tadi masa dalam perut, hydrochloric acid stop the reaction of salivary amylase. So by the time it arrives at the duodenum, no more reaction by salivary amylase, but the reaction by pancreatic amylase. Okay, good. So macam kita sebut tadi, pancreatic amylase, okay, pancreatic amylase, kita tukar ya, pancreatic amylase ya, bukan salivary amylase. Pancreatic amylase digest starch to become maltose. Very good. Okay, manakala tadi kan dalam perut, pepsin digest protein to become polypeptide. Sekarang trypsin digest polypeptide to become peptide. And finally, when we see lipid, of course lah dia punya enzyme lipase kan. So lipase digest lipid through hydrolysis to form fatty acid and glycerol. Thank you Nisrin for your submission. Very good. Alright, mari kita tengok pula, okay, the final destination for food digestion. Apa yang berlaku pula lepas tu? Sekejap ya, saya screenshot dulu. Alright. Okay, let's take a look here. Okay, so the next destination is ileum, where the ileum also secrete mucus macam dekat stomach tadi, and at the same time ileum has the ability to produce enzymes maltase, sucrase, lactase, lipase and erepsin. The objective of digestion in ileum is to produce the simplest organic molecule. The simplest form is to digest the food products into its simplest form. Maknanya kalau karbohidrat, last kali kita nak dia dapat monosaccharide. Kalau dia protein, last kali kita nak dapat acid amino. Kalau dia lipid, last kali kita nak dapat fatty acid and glycerol. And at the same time, since tadi in the duodenum, bile is secreted to make it in as an alkaline medium, the ileum also needed alkaline medium to allow the enzymes to act as at its optimum, to be in an optimum condition. So let's take a look at carbohydrate digestion. What do you think? If the product is maltose, what is the enzyme? If the if the substrate is maltose, what is the enzyme and what are the products? If the substrate is sucrose, nama enzyme dia apa? And lastly, if the enzyme is lactose, apakah dia punya if the substrate is lactose, apakah dia punya enzyme? Tergantung pula ayat saya kat situ ya. Alright, very good. Almost there, almost ready. Okay, so as I mentioned before, ileum produces many types of enzyme. Kali ni kita fokus on enzymes that are involved for carbohydrate digestion. So when the food arrive at the ileum area, most of the carbohydrate that arrive there is in the form of disaccharide. Belum lagi simple molecule, kita kena break down lagi. That is why maltose react with maltase to form glucose, sucrose digested by sucrase to form glucose and fructose, and finally lactose will be digested by lactase to form glucose and galactose. So dah sampai ileum ni dah jadi the simplest type of carbohydrate lah. Okay, semua ni glucose, fructose dan galactose ni adalah monosaccharide. So digestion of carbohydrate has already completed in ileum due to the presence of maltase, sucrase and also lactase. Terima kasih kepada tiga-tiga enzim ni. Mari kita tengok the next part. Okay, mari kita tengok the next part. Digestion of protein dengan lipid pula. Simple saja untuk protein dengan lipid ni. Mesti tahu kan kalau dia punya substrate dia lipid, enzim dia apa kan? Senang saja kan? Okay. Yeah, okay, very good. So since the substrate is lipid, the enzyme is lipase. Very good. Okay, the enzyme is lipase and the product is fatty acid and glycerol. And then when the enzyme is erepsin digest peptide to form amino acid. Very simple. So bila kita tengok untuk protein tadi, protein in the stomach converted to polypeptide. Polypeptide in the duodenum converted to peptide. And then once it arrives at the ileum, peptide is converted to amino acid. Kan sebab dia complex molecule, tak boleh nak kata lah, memang step dia banyak lah. But for lipid, see, even though it is a complex molecule, as long as the lipid meet with the enzyme lipase, it can be converted to fatty acid and glycerol. Very simple. Satu enzim saja sudah mencukupi sebab rupa paras dia satu je kan. Dia tak kompleks macam protein, mula jadi polypeptide lah, jadi peptide lah, atau macam karbohidrat, mula jadi starch lah, lepas tu digest jadi disaccharide, dari disaccharide kena digest lagi sekali baru jadi monosaccharide. So here is a sample answer from your friend. Thank you Shakira Alia for your submission. Okay, so anak-anak, we have completed discussion about digestion. So dia punya main point dia kat sini ialah kita tahu the food that we eat contain carbohydrate, protein and lipid. So carbohydrate, protein dan lipid ni perjalanan digestion dia slightly different from each other. For example, for carbohydrate, it will be digested starting in the mouth sebab ada amylase, and the duodenum sebab ada amylase, and ended in the ileum because of the presence of different types of enzyme lah macam maltase, lactase dengan sucrase. At the end of carbohydrate digestion, we will get monosaccharide seperti glucose, galactose, fructose. Okay. For protein pula, bermula digestion of protein started in the stomach where pepsin digest protein to form polypeptide. Dalam duodenum, polypeptide tukar jadi peptide, and then dalam ileum, peptide tadi converted to amino acids. The enzyme is erepsin. Manakala lipid, very simple, occurs 2 times digestion of lipid. One is in the duodenum and the final one is in the ileum. But digestion of lipid ni sedikit unik sebab dia ada physical digestion satu lagi, which is the emulsification of lipid macam gambar yang saya tunjuk kat sini tadi. So ini adalah, it is considered as physical digestion sebab in terms of chemical structure dia masih tidak berubah. It is still a lipid
but lipid smaller in size. Okay, so lipid ni special sikit sebab dia ada emulsification. Itu sahaja. So based on what we have discussed here, I have another word wall activity for you. Okay, let's see how much do you remember from our activity, from our discussion. Let's take a look at another word wall here. How much do you remember? Okay, mari kita cuba. Okay ya. Sekejap saya kena stop lah saya punya ni, nanti dia jalan pula ya. Oh tak, dia tak bunyi. Okay, teruskan. Okay, I give you another 3 minutes to do this activity. Nanti kita conclude to this lesson ya. Okey, untuk mereka yang dah siap, saya minta maaf, saya ingatkan saya ada embed the website for kehadiran dalam pendek kali ini. So saya lampirkan link kehadiran dalam Google Meet di ruang messages. So you can, as we wait for our friends, kita isilah kita punya kehadiran ya. Okay, for the rest we have around 20 seconds to complete the task. Okay, don't worry, link tu saya memang open. Saya tak, link untuk word wall tu saya memang open. Nanti boleh try bila-bila masa. Okay, sekali lagi saya lampirkan link kehadiran pada Google Meet ya. So, Alhamdulillah anak-anak, we have completed our discussion for today, which is digestion. I hope that from our discussion you can pinpoint the organs involved and then what are the enzymes secreted by each organ, what are the reactions by each enzyme, and so on and so forth lah. So as we conclude today's lesson, what do you think about today's lesson? What do you like? Ada part yang macam what was hard, ada part yang perlu saya repeat ke dan sebagainya lah. Okay. Oh, ileum adalah part yang susah ya. Alright. Sebab dia ada banyak kot ya. Okay. Oh, ada yang suka word wall tu ya. Saya tengok anak saya main hari tu. So saya tengok macam menarik pula word wall ni. Okay. Yes, kena hafal monems, yes. Okay, so I will give you the link to the word wall in the Telegram later. The word wall is open. I didn't put any deadlines on the word wall, so boleh ni lah. Boleh tengok balik nanti ya. Alright. So, okay. So, a few of you have also have also PM me about not having a good internet connection today, so dia tak boleh masuk pedek. Nanti saya akan share link PDF of our pedek lah. Okay, nanti bolehlah dia isi. Sekejap ya, saya nak tengok apa lagi reflection kat sini. Okay, a lot to remember. Most of it sebab banyak kena memorize lah. So hopefully the continuous access to the word wall boleh bantu kamu untuk memorize lah. Ada game-game kat situ kan. Ya, memang Amirul saya setuju, nak memorize tu memang nak kata apa, it is part part of having learning biology lah. Okay, so ada lagi, oh right, memorize tu masalah ya, most of it sebab memorize lah. Okay, I don't really understand about ileum. Oh, ileum. Okay, ileum tu ya. Okay, saya kena address that in Friday's lesson. So, satu lagi saya lupa appreciate, nanti saya nanti saya akan update dalam group juga the YouTube video for our class today and also the PDF version of the notes today. And then I would also like to congratulate to a few groups here who have submitted their Padlet, their website. Congratulations, mula group 5 lah sebab dia yang first, and then group 4 directly after that, and then group 3 and also group 6. So I would like to also suggest to group 6, since you are using Canva, I'm giving one of your group representative the link to my Canva referral link. So macam hari tu Abang Don hari tu ada sebut, kalau register under cikgu boleh dapat access to all the premium elements of Canva for free. So link tu saya dah bagi untuk group berapa tadi ya, sebab dia buat Canva tapi ada banyak watermark. So kalau dia guna referral code yang saya bagi tu, dia boleh remove the watermark lah. So thank you so much for coming to class today. Thank you so much for your attention and your feedback. I will consider it and address it during our next class. Thank you so much for coming. Sekian, wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum. Jangan lupa isi kehadiran.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Welcome.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you,
Assalamualaikum.
teacher.
Waalaikumsalam. See you. Khairul tak sihat ke? Ada siapa-siapa tu? Oh, sorry. Tak boleh, teruskan. Boleh pergi ke next class. Thank you. See you.
Thank you, cikgu.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming, Fahana. See you Friday.